Lagos where it's tough to make it. One moment can change everything. It's about this young woman who bounced back from a really bad place to make a new life for herself. She proves that even when things are at their worst, talent can still shine through. Get ready for a story about not giving up, turning things around, and how it's never too late for another shot. Inside the huge hangar at Lagos Airport, a quiet group of mechanics stood around a giant silver jet engine on wheels. A red toolbox sat open nearby. The ticking clock was really loud. A rich guy in a dark blue suit kept looking at his watch. The engineers had sweat on their faces. Security guards watched the doors. Suddenly, a strong voice cut through the noise. "If you let me, I can fix it." Everyone looked toward the open hangar door. A young woman stood there, her clothes old and ragged, her hair a mess from the wind and heat. She looked skinny, like she didn't eat enough. Her hands were oily, but she only looked at the engine. Someone chuckled. "Is this a joke?" asked Tunde, an engineer who'd been fixing planes for 20 years. He looked tired and amused. "We've been trying to fix this for 6 hours. One of his guys shook his head. Another shouted, "Who let her in here? Get her out!" 2 guards started walking toward her, but the man in the suit, Victor Adebayo, a rich CEO who owned the fancy Gulfstream jet outside, held up his hand. "Stop," he said, his voice calm but firm. "I've seen crazy things in business. Let her talk." The guard stopped. A woman walked forward. "Sir," she said, still looking at the engine, "I heard your team say there was a weird sound when landing, like a high whine. Then the engine didn't run right and wouldn't start after you shut it off. Can I take a look?" Tunde's mouth dropped open. "That's exactly what happened," he whispered. Victor looked closely at her face. The hangar had a quiet buzz from the machines and the smell of jet fuel. Outside, birds screamed over the runway. Inside, it was silent. "Give her the gloves," Victor said. The crew couldn't believe it. The guards backed off. Someone gave her clean gray gloves. Her hands shook a little as she put them on, then became steady. She walked to the engine calmly, checked the intake, followed the wires carefully, and listened like the metal could talk. She knelt by a small panel near the compressor and tapped it lightly. "Do you even know what you're doing?" a young mechanic asked. She didn't answer him. She grabbed a flashlight and a small mirror. She put her face close to the panel. "Here," she said quietly. "This clamp is out of place. It's tight, but in the wrong spot, which causes a small air leak that whines. And here," she pointed to a cable, "this sensor wire has a tiny break in the insulation. It's rubbing against the frame. When it gets hot, it sends wrong signals, which messes up the engine and makes it run badly." Tunde blinked. "How did we miss that?" "Because both problems hide each other," she said. "The leak causes the whine. The bad wire makes the engine act up. If you only fix one, the problem stays." Victor walked closer. "Can you fix it?" She looked at him, then at the tools. "If you let me." He stared into her eyes for a second. "Go ahead." The hangar's mood changed. The team went from not believing her to being curious. Her hands moved quickly and carefully, loosening the clamp, putting it in the right place, and tightening it with a snap. She cut and recovered the sensor wire, covered it with a sleeve, and tied it away from the frame so it wouldn't rub. She cleaned the area, checked her work, then checked again. She moved like someone who knew engines like a poet knows words. Tunde leaned in, speechless. His main technician whispered, "She might be right." "How long?" Victor asked, not looking at his watch. 17 minutes, someone answered. The woman stood up with sweat on her forehead. She took off the gloves and put them neatly on the toolbox. "It's done," she said. It got quiet. Tunde let out a slow breath. "We'll test it," he said, trying to sound confident, but he sounded like he respected her now. Victor nodded. "Move it out." The crew jumped into action. The engine platform clicked and rolled across the smooth floor. Outside, the afternoon sun made the runway look gold. A ground cart was plugged in. Cables were connected. Safety cones were set up. The team talked in short, clear sentences. The woman stepped back, put her hands together, watching silently, ready to help if needed. "Who are you?" Victor asked quietly, standing next to her. She opened her mouth, then closed it. Her eyes sparkled, but she didn't cry. "If the test works," she said softly, "I'll tell you my name." He looked at her for a moment, then nodded slightly. Tunde and his team finished their checks. He gave Victor a thumbs up. Victor did the same and walked to the control cart, his suit standing out against the sunlight. He put his hand on the starter switch, then stopped and looked at the woman. She stood still, the wind blowing her hair. Her eyes were bright and intense, like a spark that wouldn't go out. "All clear," Tunde shouted. The cones were checked. Again, the area was clear. 2 mechanics moved to safe spots. Warning lights flashed, making red flashes on the Gulfstream's white wing. The air felt tense, like all of Lagos was holding its breath. Victor's thumb was on the starter. The hangar clock ticked loudly like a hammer hitting. "Let's do this," he said. He pressed the switch and the engine came to life with a roar. A low whine grew quickly. Numbers went up on the control screen. The whine turned into a smooth roar, but then a loud beep sounded. Tunde quickly looked at the panel. A red light flashed. The engine's sound changed. Everyone looked at the woman in the ragged dress. She walked forward, looking at the engine, and raised her hand, signaling, "Wait, listen." The hangar felt frozen in time. Every mechanic, engineer, guard, and even Victor Adebayo waited to see if the engine would work or fail. The red warning light blinked, casting a dim light on the engine. The jet's whirring sound went up and down, like it couldn't decide what to do. A woman, no one knew her name, held up her arm. Her voice was loud and clear. "Don't stop it. Listen." Tunda frowned. "Are you crazy? A warning light means danger. We could mess up the whole thing." "It's not the core," she replied. "It's just the sensor getting used to the new wiring. Give it a sec to chill out." Her calmness surprised everyone. Victor looked from Tunda to the woman. He was super successful and knew when someone was in charge. She had that something. "Keep it going," Victor said, ending the argument. The engine's whirring evened out. The red light flickered, then turned green. Everyone gasped. The engine sounded great, like it was supposed to. Perfect. A Gulfstream engine was back. Tunda stepped back, looking shocked. A technician dropped his tool. Another mumbled, "No way." Victor opened his mouth, eyes wide. His best team spent 6 hours trying to fix this thing, but they couldn't. This woman in old clothes fixed it in less than 20 minutes. He turned to her. "What's your name?" His voice was quiet, but it echoed in the hangar. She swallowed, eyes watering, but she stood straight. "I'm Amara Okoye." The name didn't mean much to most, but Tunde looked like he'd been punched. "Okoye," he whispered. "From Nigeria Aerospace Institute, top of her class." People started talking. They'd heard about her. A brilliant woman who impressed everyone, then disappeared 2 years ago. Victor kept looking at her. "Explain," he said softly. Standing near the engine, Amara's voice shook. "2 years ago, my dad said he was getting another wife. My mom couldn't take it. She poisoned his food, then ate some herself, wanting to die with him." She kept talking. "I was their only kid, 20 years old, just out of college, ready to start at a great company. But seeing them die messed me up. I quit my interviews, got rid of my phone, and just wandered. I ended up begging to survive." The hangar was quiet, just the engine running. Even Tunda looked ashamed. Amara's eyes filled with tears. "But every day I walked by this place, I'd stare through the fence, remembering my old life. Today, when I heard you all struggling, I thought, let me try. Even if I fail, I won't let my dream die." Victor felt emotional. Despite being a businessman, he was touched by her honesty. Tunda spoke up. "You saved us." "You saved his jet," he said, motioning to Victor's plane. "We would have messed it up." Victor walked closer. He put a hand on Amara's shoulder. "You didn't just fix my engine. You showed me why it's good to have another shot." He turned to everyone. "You all saw this. Remember it. Being great isn't about how you look or what you're called. It's about truth, skill, and courage." This woman had all three. Amara wasn't sure what to do, but Victor wasn't done. "Amara Okoye," he said. "You won't have to beg anymore. You won't be homeless. I'll make sure everyone knows your name." The technicians clapped. Tunde clapped too, crying. Amara covered her face, overwhelmed. For the first time in forever, she felt hopeful. Victor checked his watch. "I need to be in London in 6 hours, and you're coming with me." She looked surprised. "Sir, you fixed my jet," he said. "You're coming with me." The hangar cheered. Tunde whispered to his team, "She's going to London on the jet she saved." Later, Amara stood outside, looking at herself in the jet's surface. She didn't see a beggar. She saw who she was supposed to be, but when she touched the jet, she felt scared. Was this real, or would it go away? Victor interrupted her thoughts. "Get ready. Everyone will know Amara Okoye soon." As she boarded the jet, no one knew her story was just getting started. The Gulfstream's cabin was super posh, with ivory leather seats around shiny mahogany tables. Soft gold light glowed from above. Amara sat stiffly by the window, her beat-up dress and messy hair totally out of place in this fancy setting. She stared at the runway lights, trying not to cry. The door shut, the engines revved up, and the jet took off. Amara's chest tightened. She'd daydreamed about being on a plane like this back when her life seemed bright. Never thought she'd be here like this. Not just a passenger, but as the person who just saved them all. Across from her, Victor Adebayo chilled, looking totally confident like a big boss. But he kept looking at Amara, checking her out like she was some old book. "You handled my jet like it was nothing to you," he said over the engine noise. "Seriously, where did you learn to do that?" Amara took a breath. "Nigeria Aerospace Institute, sir. I graduated top of my class and I was the first woman to get honors in aircraft maintenance." Victor raised an eyebrow. "And now you're broke and hungry?" She blushed, feeling embarrassed. She looked down at her hands. "Life got tough. After my folks died, things fell apart. I just gave up." The cabin went quiet except for the steady hum of the engines. Victor reached into a compartment and pulled out a little velvet box, putting it on the table. "Open it." Amara hesitated, then lifted the lid. Inside was a simple, shiny gold bracelet with the letters VA on it. She gasped. "Sir, Victor stopped her. "This was my wife's. She liked helping people who were down on their luck. I'm giving it to you because you're too good for the streets. You're meant for bigger things." Amara teared up, unable to move or speak. She closed the box, her hands shaking. Victor leaned forward. "Tomorrow in London, you're meeting with the big guys from Apex Jet Solutions, the company that offered you a job ages ago. I'm going to tell them you saved my Gulfstream. They'll listen." Amara's heart skipped a beat. Apex Jet Solutions? She'd wanted that chance before everything went wrong. "Sir, what if they laugh at me?" she whispered. Victor's face softened. "Then they're laughing at me for believing in you. But they won't. You're too good." The plane leveled out. A flight attendant showed up. "Dinner's ready, sir." Victor nodded toward Amara. "Bring her some clothes." The flight attendant came back with a shimmering silver dress and a bag of toiletries. Amara's jaw dropped. "This for me?" Victor nodded. "You're not going to the meeting looking like that. You're going to show them who you really are." For the first time in ages, Amara smiled through her tears. She rushed to the restroom. When she came out, the cabin seemed different. Her hair was washed and done up in a nice bun, shining under the lights. The dress fit her perfectly, turning her from a beggar into someone special. Her eyes sparkled with hope. Victor stood up, amazed. He'd seen famous people and important folks, but never a change like this. "You look," he said quietly. "Amazing." Amara laughed shyly. "I don't feel amazing. I just feel like myself again." They ate dinner. Victor asked about her childhood dreams, the people who helped her, and why she loved engines. She was so passionate. When they finished eating, Victor leaned back, looking serious. "Amara, when we land, you've got a choice. Walk away and disappear again, or go after the life you deserve. What's it going to be?" She gripped the armrest, her breath shaky. She thought about all the nights begging for food, the days staring at the repair shop, missing her old life. Now she had a shot. Her voice was a little shaky but strong. "I'll take it. I'm not running anymore." Victor smiled a little. "Good." As the jet flew through the night, Amara looked at the city lights below, like stars on the ground. She thought about her parents' deaths, the bad times, the pain. For the first time, they felt like memories, not burdens. She whispered, "I won't screw this up," but neither she nor Victor knew that there's more to come. Trouble was waiting in London, with secrets and choices that would totally change her life. The Gulfstream landed at London City Airport as the sky turned orange. Amara squeezed her knees, trying to stay calm. She felt nervous and scared. She'd told Victor she was ready, but she was terrified. Victor, looking sharp in his suit, noticed. He whispered, "Amara, you're great at what you do. Just be yourself." A fancy black car drove them through London's wet roads with the sun shining on the buildings. Amara looked at the city and her worried face in the window. This is it, no going back, she thought. By the middle of the morning, she was inside a huge building made of glass and steel called Apex Jet Solutions. The meeting room was big, with screens showing planes and numbers. The executive sat at a long table looking very serious. A man with gray hair fixed his tie and spoke to Victor. "Mr. Adebayo, we've been waiting. It better be good." Victor said clearly, "It is. This is Amara Okoye. She's the engineer who fixed my Gulfstream when nobody else could." People started whispering. A woman in a red jacket raised an eyebrow, looking at Amara's silver dress. "She looks young." Amara felt her chest tighten. She held her hands behind her back to stop them from shaking. Victor said firmly, "Look at what she does, not what she looks like." The gray-haired man leaned forward. "Okay, Miss Okoye. Mr. Adebayo trusts you, but fixing a plane in Nigeria is different. What did you fix?" Amara took a deep breath. This was her chance. The compressor clamp was loose, causing a leak. Also, a wire was damaged and sending wrong signals, causing the engine to run bad. The problems were hiding each other, which is why no one noticed. She sounded confident and excited. "Engines tell you things if you listen." The sound was from air, not serious damage. The bad engine was from a data problem. Fixing both made the engine like new. Everyone went quiet. The executive stared. An older woman was impressed. "She's right." The man frowned. "Anyone can read a book." Victor looked annoyed, but Amara raised her hand. "Can I try?" The woman in red pointed to the screen. "Go ahead." Amara walked to the screen, which showed a plane engine. "Give me a problem," she said. The man smiled. Brave. He typed quickly. The screen flashed and a warning light came on. Amara looked at the data. "It's not the turbine or fuel," she said. "It's a shaking sensor giving wrong numbers. It's loose or not set right." She tapped the screen. "The shaking isn't really shaking. It's a computer issue. If you just set it again, it'll be good." She turned to the room. "If this was real, I'd check the mount, but the engine is fine." The warning light turned off. The screen said, "Sensor calibration error fixed." The room was silent. The woman spoke. "She's right. Perfectly." The man leaned back, looking surprised. Victor smiled a bit. "Now do you understand?" The woman in red crossed her arms. "She's skilled, but running a branch needs discipline." Victor stood up. "Amara has all of those. Her parents died. She lived on the streets for 2 years, but still she is very knowledgeable. If that's not tough, what is?" The woman nodded. "Maybe we were wrong about her." She turned to Amara. "Miss Okoye, if we let you run our Lagos branch, what would you do?" Amara's heart beat fast. She looked at Victor and then back. "I'd make it the best branch in the world, not just to brag, but to show that bad things can't stop you from being great." Nobody spoke. The man sighed, putting down his pen. "Let her try. I can't say she's wrong." The woman nodded. The woman smiled. "Welcome to Apex Jet Solutions, Amara Okoye. Lagos is yours." Amara felt emotional. She bowed, whispering, "Thank you." Victor put his hand on her shoulder. "You did it." As they left, his phone buzzed. He looked worried. As he read the message, Amara asked, "Is something wrong?" Victor said, "Some people might not like this decision." Amara felt a chill. Was someone trying to ruin her chance? The door to her new life was open, but something didn't seem right in the future. The flight back to Lagos felt different. The plane, almost like it knew Amara was bringing Victor's engine home, zipped through the air. Victor was busy on his phone, nailing down her welcome. Amara should have felt great, but she was nervous. Victor's warning kept bugging her. There might be trouble in Lagos. When they landed, the press was everywhere, cameras flashing. The story of a former homeless person who changed the game spread like wildfire. Victor shielded her as security got them through. Inside the new Apex Jet Solutions in Lagos, you could cut the tension with a knife. The place was spotless. Tools were in place, and the team was ready to meet her. Still, Amara felt doubt in the air. Tunde was there too. Victor had told him to come to her first day as the boss. He looked respectful now, shame for teasing her earlier. Mr. Okafor, the regional boss, gave her a firm handshake. "So, you're the lady from the news," he said blankly. "I find it hard to believe someone Someone with no years in the field is qualified to run this place. Amara looked him in the eye, nervous but loud and proud. I'll let my work speak for itself. The staff buzzed, some impressed, some not convinced. A week later, a jet belonging to a big client reported major engine issues. They were scared. If she failed, she'd tarnish their name. Okafor folded his arms. Let's see what she can do. Amara took a breath. Bring in the jet. The plane got towed into the hangar. Mechanics whispered. Amara walked around the engine, touching it, feeling for a problem. She closed her eyes, remembering her school days, the books, the drive. It's not fuel, she said. It's the bleed valve. That's why it stalls. Tunde stepped up. She's right. I noticed that too, but she got to it first. Okafor frowned. Then fix it. If you can't, you're all screwed. Amara guided the repair, explaining things as she worked. Hours later, the engine was roaring. The client was shocked and promised to brag about her skills. The team was happy for her to achieve this far, but Amara noticed Okafor in the corner, annoyed. That night, in her office, she was happy, but her heart was kind of sad. She'd proved herself, yet Okafor's face meant more was coming. Victor walked in, smiling. You've done more in a week than most do in years. Lagos will strive under you. Amara gave weak smile. Not everyone trusts me. Victor sighed. Haters will hate, but you will endure. Another knock came. Daniel, Victor's son, a bit too nice than expected. He had just got back from London with a business degree, walked in. So you're Amara, he said gently. The one who saved my dad's jet and now leads Lagos. Amara blushed. I don't lead. I just listen. Daniel chuckled. And people. You listen better than most. Over weeks, their paths crossed a lot. Dinners, late nights working, chats on the balcony. Daniel's calm helped Amara, and her drive excited him. Rumors spread. People noticed Daniel staring at Amara, and her smile when he was near. One night, Daniel and Amara went out to the balcony after work. The city lights were really something. Daniel turned to Amara, obviously nervous. Amara, he blurted, you came into our lives out of nowhere. You fixed things no one else could, and not just engines, but people's spirits. I don't want to lose you. He got down on one knee and opened a small box with a ring inside that was sparkling. Will you marry me? Amara started crying. She never thought she'd be here. Yes, she managed to say. Months later, they had a huge wedding in Lagos. The church was all decked out with flowers, and everyone who was anyone in Nigeria was there, with reporters all over the place. Victor walked Amara down the aisle looking proud. You saved my jet, he said quietly. Now you're my daughter. When Amara said her vows, she spoke clearly. I didn't know who I was after my parents died. I was homeless and hopeless. I decided to ask someone, can I fix that thing? That one moment got me here. Today I'm in charge of the biggest jet place in Africa, and I'm marrying this man who is the son of the man who gave me a chance. That proves that you can always find the good in things. Everyone clapped like crazy. Victor was crying, thanking God. A year later, Amara and Daniel had a baby boy. They named him David after Victor's dad. Victor held his grandson and cried. He said, you were the answer. I appreciate and love you, Amara. Amara smiled and cried happy tears. She'd found what she was looking for. She had love, a job, and a family, and became an inspiration to others. Amara Okoye went from being a homeless kid to a leader and a loving wife. It just goes to show that it doesn't matter where you begin. What counts is how brave you are. Her story is famous in Lagos and everywhere else. It proves how strong talent, kindness, and another shot at life can be. What's your opinion of Amara's success? Where are you reading this? If you liked her story, tell me what you think, share it with others, and follow for more stories that will move you.